just relocate them out. You get kind of the ability to match global with global in terms of movement with the Underlord. I actually think that it could be a pretty strong pickup for DC.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind it. They have. Do they run much Wisp though?
I
I
mean, they
don't think I
used to.
ever. They used
It's been
to.
it's been a decent bit of time, but they used to actually pick it up with relative frequency. It's interesting how DC has evolved because they actually have played through so many different metas, and the way I see it is that they've kind of picked up strategies from each and every region. As DC built up to
Yeah.
TI, the months leading up to that, whether they were at the summit or every other tournament, I mean, obviously a few of the majors and major qualifiers, they always seem to be picking up strategies from each team. And it was just like, okay, well, China's doing this, let's see how we run it. And so they started running Drow strats, and then they started running Wisp strats, and then they just had all this kind of amalgamation of knowledge that Mizra was able to put to work, which is why they were so versatile at TI. So, I mean, you have to ask, like, when you ask if that's like a DC strategy, if that's something that DC want to run, it's like they can run just about anything. I mean, they invented this support Slardar support Venge stuff at TI when that was completely unheard of. So, or actually no, it was carry Venge support Slardar, but
Mhm.
all the same, like it's just changing it up the game is what DC's all about in my mind. So don't take anything at face value in this draft.
Yeah. It makes it so hard, especially lately with a lot of the ways of how creative some of these drafters could be. You can't really just make calls anymore as far as what they're going to be doing. Um, but here they get the Vengeful Spirit, as you were kind of alluding to a bit, and talking about a Horned and True, DC Classic, and Freedom will move on and grab up the Disruptor here. So another one of those pickups where it's just like, how I felt about the Doom. It's like, I don't know where its exact position is, who he's here, what's its purpose, but, just something that works for Freedom. It's a great pick. It does a lot in the game, but, normally we'd see Disruptor as more of a niche pick in most drafts.
Disruptor is an amazing hero. I actually feel like it should be first phased a little bit more often, just because it's such a generic hero. You
I
can build
agree.
around it in any
Yeah.
way. It's a great pick for pubs when you want to just grab random support that does stuff, because you can always control the fights prior to the enemy picking up BKB. And you can, generally speaking, control the lane pretty well in terms of a good 5-position support. So the Disruptor gives a lot of breathing room for the Doom. Eagle can roam around wherever he wants. He doesn't have to stick to a certain lane because the Disruptor's got the bottom lane covered. But yeah, there isn't a specific hero that he's counteracting necessarily. Glimpse is good against Slardar, but it's not necessary. And then, yeah, he's just kind of comboing up with the Underlord. They want to Pit of Malice, Kinetic Field, with the potentially Static Storm and Rain of Fire all going down in one little spot, which can be nice, but DC don't have to play into that. If they want to isolate a target, go Blink Crush, Arrow, and go for swap play, it's just like they can isolate single targets, and they don't have to clump, because Lone Druid has such a massive attack range with Dragonlance and the level 10 talent, that you can really just keep your heroes very well spread out in a concave, and Disruptor doesn't, and Underlord really can't control that kind of position.
Freedom with their last ban out the Bat Rider. So do you think that this is going to be a 4-position Slardar?
I think so, actually. I think it's not more powerful than the offlane Slardar, but I feel there are so many great offlane options still in the pool for Moon Meander that you might as well just put this as the 4. And you go for the negative armor you're talking about. Wave of Terror, Amp Damage, you get that from your supports, and then you get this offlaner that can do more.
Final ban for DC will be getting rid
Okay,
of
no.
the Weaver, and they'll go for the Bane here. So this is looking like it will be the off-lane Moon Meander, Slardar, and mid-lane Weehaw, Marana, Venge, and Bane supports. Yeah.
So I have a pretty good explanation for a lot of the heroes picked here, but Bane, the only thing I see is the Arrow Nightmare synergy. Other than that, I'm actually really surprised this hero is in the draft.
Yeah, it's not like there's like a BKB dependent core yet for Freedom that you're like,
Like, you don't know what carry you're up
lockdown.
against.
Yeah,
You don't know
so
if they can just easily pick a hero that isn't as directly countered by Bane, gets a Linked Sphere early on, has plenty of attack damage, so Enfeeble isn't less effective.
I mean, I don't know, unless they do some like crazy. Have you ever seen like mid lane Wii Lone Druid and they take Resolution Bench to the top lane and then it is still a support? Like, I don't know. You'd have to do some crazy role bending.
Yeah.
If you're DC to try to still be able to make this like, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, don't take anything at face value.
Yeah.
They could do some crazy lane swaps where it could be like a carry Venge mixed in here somehow, but I wouldn't necessarily count on that. Let's see, like
Just watch Weehaw roll with like a mid lane.
if you
Bane.
wanted to
That would be the
theorycraft
best.
that, you'd have like a off-lane Bane Marana duo. You'd have Weehaw solo safe, solo mid Lone Druid,
Yeah.
and you'd have a solo safe Venge, and then the support Slaughter. But all in all, that's pretty far fetched. I think we're just going to be seeing the classic Bane will roam a lot for mid and try to shut down the Invoker.
I
Uh,
hope it's something funky for the sake that it would just work with how you went into that bit with no not taking anything DC does with face value and
yeah,
just always having ever evolving kind of drafts. If even here and now they just totally had another swap around game changer, that would be nice, but we'll have to see. We don't have the
yeah.
luxury of seeing them jump on their heroes anymore.
Yeah, at this point, I would just assume use Occam's razor and assume that it's going to be the most simplest explanation. It's just this Bane is such an interesting pickup, but Misery is going to be running
Yeah.
that and is going to be Soxa on the Venge. So, yeah, I expect a lot of smoke play towards the mid lane for Misery. Trying to shut down Tomato on the Invoker. A little bit of respect to him that they're going to be planting so much pressure against him, but that doesn't mean he has to have fun with it. In the meantime, immediate TP up top from both Mike and Soxa, but I believe Soxa got this ward up without Mike seeing it.
There
So
was one ping coming out from Eagle. He may have seen a brief sight of Soxa running towards that side shop initially, but I don't think they had an idea of where he may have popped out the other end and dropped down the ward. And plus, Mike went in there, walked back out, still holds his ward. They see that whole thing. So it is kind of an upper hand for DC there.
yeah, and he'll probably just put it in a pretty reserved position here as they group up to
Or hand it
cover
off.
their bounty.
Yeah.
The bear just trying to be cheeky about it too, but yeah, at this point in time, Resolution, he's played a lot of Lone Druid since it came back into the metagame, and he's very comfortable with the play style that this hero brings. We had the discussion before how some NA games involve the Radiance Lone Druid, but this is a great game for the ranged Lone Druid, and it's probably what Resolution prefers.
Yeah, if I remember correctly, he's definitely all about the 2017 Lone Druid.
He's ahead of the curve, man, this
Yeah.
guy. But
Okay.
they're actually looking for this
Yeah,
rune snipe.
they want to
They
grab
didn't have
all.
any high ground vision, so they didn't really see this coming until now, and yeah, they're just going to give it up. Wow, that is going to be 3 runes.
Oh, Moon even grabs the one on the bottom, just walks in, crushes, takes it right in front of BSJ.
4
and Eagle.
bounty runes?
Okay, that might be.
DC!
That's the first time I've ever seen that. One team takes 4 bounty runes. 4 bounty runes for one team.
That's some blitz Dota strategies going in. They just got to like coach some of that movement because that was just like pristine. They like I mean, you have to blame a little bit. Freedom were not set up on the high ground here, so they did not see the approach coming in from Freedom, and then obviously not playing around the crush down on the bottom one. That's probably some misplay that they could have circumvented. They could have pressured the slaughter a little bit harder. They definitely should have grabbed at least one of them. But
I don't think I've ever seen that.
Yeah.
And you're probably never going to see that kind of thing happen often at all.
Gold graph, like it's a 400 gold swing off like at the 0-0 mark. That's insane.
Oh, BSJ might be in a bit of trouble. He is swarmed between Misery and Moon Meander, pops the salve, eats a tango, does everything he can to get away from trouble, and it's actually going to turn out to be Moon Meander the one who will go down first blood. Misery, though, not looking to let up one more second for the brain stout. Sucks him, gets it right before the deny could come out.
Yep, so just if you're not bringing the Nightmare, you're not bringing control of that situation. If Moon gets a little overzealous and ends up giving away a little bit more than he needed to in that situation, Jubei now going to be hitting boots very early on and going to be able to trade really well against this dual lane.
We'll see how much of an impact it's going to make here as BSJ will be able to heal back up, recompose, while Eagle stands back and behind to make sure the wave continues to sit back and below the tower. We quickly touch base. Mike is going in a 1-1 against Resolution in his Lone Druid for now, finds himself with 6 CS, the same as Resolution. But Soxa, I guess, has stepped in now and will be able to help out with the creep pools.
Not sure if you mentioned it, but Doom ends up picking up the best level 1 creep to devour. It is going to be that Mud Golem, so he can just be hurling boulders at no mana cost whatsoever left and right, and that's going to allow him to be very involved in this lane.
Hits Moon with the Infernal Blade.
In fact,
knocks him with
Jubei
the
hasn't
boulder.
skilled yet. Oh, he doesn't have mana. If he had mana, actually, it might be a kill on Moon. Instead, Misery looking for a snipe. Or, no, just the Nightmare setup. He doesn't want the core, he wants the Invoker.
Okay.
It's going to be hard with all these creeps, but he's
Runs
going
back.
for it.
Oh, but the creeps are all in the way. He'll still try to go for the angle and still gets it. TP is already coming out, though. It's going to be Eagle looking to step in, and there's going to be the Starfall. Good enough to get the job done. Tomato will be dropped, and they may consider going in on Eagle here. It was a fast rotation from Eagle, but good setup sleep. Good leap in from Wee to get that good angle.
Yeah, I think he aggroed the creeps just well enough that the static angle would work too, and that'd be a longer stun. But, I mean, the leap guarantees it, and that's you always got to go for the higher percentage play. So, really nice pickup on the Invoker, and of course the Bane just goes up to the Shrine and they heal up anyways. So, in a great position. You're going to see a lot more roaming from Misery. He's got Windlace Boots. All he needs is mana and mobility, and he's just going to keep on staying active. He'll sustain himself with Brain Sap. He's going to hit level 3 here in a moment, and he can just keep on being a menace across every lane.
And Mike has stepped away now from this top lane, so this is just a free farm for Resolution, who's already at the top of the CS. That's a problem.
Yeah.
We'll just let that happen. You know, if you're Freedom, it's like, yeah, it's fine. We'll hope we have the power to deal with that later.
Oh, and they're actually going to go hard onto Slark here. Are they going to be able to block BSJ's pounce out? It looks like he's just going to be able to get enough distance. Misery not wanting to go past the aggro line on the tower. So, with that said, just continue to put pressure on him. You got to wonder where the supports are. We see Jubei, he's doing something bottom, but we see that Eagle, he picks up this Doom, and he's just kind of back and forth, helping jungle a little bit, poking and prodding at a lane, but, you know, hasn't really found anything substantial yet.
Jubei here knows that Misery keeps bugging him a bit. Misery has managed to pull a creep away here. Jubei still holds that point.
Oh, Rabbit on top. Is he going to be able to get a root? Needs one more hit, and it's not going to happen. So, level 5, you always got to keep an eye on that Lone Druid, as that is a very significant chance for kills. And in fact, Soxa's so comfortable with that situation, he's just going to go bottom, and they're going to try land on Jubei.
Yes, they are. They've hit him with the missile. There's the sap. One more right click will do it. Eagle steps in now. They're hoping to get some redemption with the pounce, with the boulder. Misery still holds strong, needs 5 more seconds, could end up sapping here and turning it around. BSJ has to walk away from the hostility. Now Misery moves in, gets that sap off. There's the crush, there's the kill.
And diving under the tower, Weehawk only gets one hit on the Starstorm, though, and that means that is going to be BSJ able to TP away. But still, 4-man play down bottom, the Sunstrike off the mark, and that is going to be 2 kills, making it 5-1 for DC.
Mike also went down the top lane too, so
Yeah.
Resolution
Dude,
with a solo kill.
That root is just so strong. I mean, people forgot about it because we haven't seen Lone Druid in forever, but that level 5 timing. He didn't even have to resummon his bear to guarantee the root, or a second root. He just is able to get him under tower just by that alone. And yeah, 4-man shield and 2-0-2 is not going to be enough for Mike to sustain against that.
Oh, they do manage to get Weehaw taken down. A surprise element there from Eagle. But now they put Tomato to sleep. Eagle gets him out, but it's not going to matter. Soxa will be able to get the finish there. And then they step off.
Yeah. So, I mean, it does suck losing Weehaw there, but at the same time, continuing to make sure this Invoker is nowhere near Hand of Midas by continuing to get kills against him is the general key. In fact, now he has to go into Wand. He's going to have to delay it even further, and yeah, I expect a lot more pressure to come, especially as Misery starts to approach level 6. He's already rapidly approaching level 5 as he gets some solo experience here on mid. And yeah, this Bane is having a hell of a game.
Just a fresh face, fresh ugly face to see in the game again here. Misery is just, running all over the place, showing how he could just really be that early game dominator as a support.
It's really a nightmare for Team Freedom.
Well played there, sir. Well played. He is now going to attempt to make the full rotation up to BSJ, where Resolution is beginning to run him down and eventually just take total control. Yeah. Still, Resolution obviously going to be a huge problem here for Freedom. We'll hope to find a way to kind of deal with it later. Eagle, rock on Misery.
Does actually surprisingly puts another point to Rabbit rather than going for the true form here. If Rezo pops true form, he can battle cry and just take that tower, no problem. They already glyphed it, or they haven't glyphed it, but it's still really potent to get that battle cry out when you have this essentially like a 1 versus 0 lane where you just freely get to poke at the tower as much as possible. But he gets the Rabbit, he gets that speed, and that probably gives him a little bit more kill potential for those that are defending the tower.
Freedom are trying to make maybe a setup happen here, but there's a ward on that high ground along with their own. So Resolution sees troubles coming, and he's happy to run on out. Juve only has level 1 of the glimpse. And oh yeah, you're right, down here below, Misery. Sleep onto the Invoker?
Yeah, Wii was a little slow. I guess his arrow did not, he used it. I guess it went on the creep wave, but you know, Misery's just trying to do it yourself. He's just trying to find that pick off one way or another.
Mike's here now, though. He doesn't have a point yet into pit, so can't really slow them down from running on out from trouble.
Oh,
BSJ shows up to the shrine and will be there to welcome Misery with open arms. Takes him down.
Jams it in. Nice.
And Weehaw will be able to TP away.
So, not all bad for Freedom, but they are off to a rocky start as Rezo's about to take this top tier 1 with the help of Soxa, going for 2 points of Vengeance Aura. The reason Vengeance Aura is better to skill up in this matchup than in your standard game of Dota 2 is because you're up against a Pit Lord. Pit Lords aura, the atrophy aura, is essentially in direct contradiction to what Vengeance Aura is all about. It's an additive uh, equation, so the more Vengeance Aura you get, the less you have to worry about that atrophy aura, and across the board, you're getting a lot more damage.
And I would imagine Sox is going to continue to just find his way to build up some more farm and XP. The best thing, one of the best things going for DC is just how the supports are getting so much, and even here, Misery able to isolate BSJ for quite a while.
He's just playing. Like, he's like, okay, I guess I can just live in your jungle now, and they're going to teach him a thing or two about that.
Yeah, Eagle is here now, and they're trying to not allow Misery to feel overconfident about just hanging around.
I mean, there's a shrine right here. Like, there's two things they can TP to. Oh, I shouldn't be pinging that, but all the save, it's like, yeah, at this point, you're getting a little overzealous. There's so much potential for them to just flank you and to close in. So he had some fun, but he does need to tone it down a little bit as they're just starting to chip down every single tower. Took the top. Mid's actually really low, and bottom was about to fall.
Also have rotations coming to the bottom lane. BSJ showing up to look to punish maybe Moon, who's trying to get in there with that extra amp damage. Gets one onto BSJ. DC take their tower. Resolution gets the last hit, and they look to run. You know, this is one of those prime opportunities that you hope to get Disruptor in, get off the big glimpse pick off, but those opportunities just not showing themselves at all for Team Freedom. DC already onto the next tower. Mid lane gonna get dropped.
Nice deny from Tomato.
Yep, he gets the deny at the last second.
And they need these kills, though. They really do. Rotating in, Jubei needs to get the glimpse onto Weehaw here after the leap. But the Sentry Ward, nope, they're just going to go for the Sunstrike play and get the guaranteed kill. They don't have detection.
Mike, top lane also will get dropped.
Wow, way too far forward. And Rezo and Moonmeander punish him quite significantly. Yeah, they need to get detection up quickly. These underfarm supports just need to get online as soon as possible. Toma Knowledge is coming up here at the 10-minute mark. That'll get Jubei his Static Storm, and along with that, he's got the Sentry Ward. So this is going to put them back into a fighting stance. But, you know, when your Invoker has all three Tier 1 towers gone and doesn't have Midas yet, you know that you're in a bad spot.
Now, before Team Freedom can step back, try to get their tome, try to get their levels, try to get some composure, DC have already smoked up and are looking to go on the offensive. Moon is very close to his Blink Dagger. A successful fight here will get him it. Not opting to look to, you know, just take the time to farm and secure it. DC feel pretty confident, and they are right. They have come across a unfortunate Tomato nearby, Invoker rather. Gonna get put to sleep, gonna get arrowed down. Misery will take the last hit, and now they'll move on to Tier 2s. This is looking much more grim for Freedom than in game number 1.
Yeah, I mean, they actually just might straight up take a Tier 2. Jubei has to get in here quick and just has to get a perfect Static Storm out if they're going to be able to defend this. Arrow? Oh my gosh, the Doom's already stunned.
And that's it. Poor Eagle here shows up. Now there will be a counterplay and a nice one from Jubei to get a good Static Storm. Helps to get the takedown of Wii, and DC are going to have to evacuate.
No, I actually think that was completely tactical that they baited the arrow there. They obviously, so if you TP on the tower, you spawn at a random location anywhere around the tower, but if you just click a random spot on the ground, that's where you will be. So they knew that the arrow was going to come out, they knew that Doom would get stunned, but they also had Jubei coming in with the Static Storm. So it was similar to the Envy bait that we got to see yesterday in the NP game, where he knew he was in a compromised position, but he had his team behind him and was able to actually get a very key kill out of that. So well played, well prepared from Team Freedom there.
Debated, if you will.
Oh my.
And now Freedom looking to get the most out of this small peak of hope as they take their business up to the top lane. They're going to take the Tier 1, and then they're going to take themselves elsewhere. Bye-bye. DC will quickly realize, wait a minute, where'd they go? Well, they got on the back of Mike, and they have...
Well, Jubei seems to have missed the bus, man.
Oh, wait,
he stayed up top.
What? Oh, no! Jubei, what happened? Yeah. He was not there with Mike.
He's just run alongside the bus. Oh, no, please, sir, open the door. I got to get to school.
And DC find him, run him over, and all right in the world.
Oh,
the end of it. So, unfortunate for Freedom, but for the more important cores, they make it out safely. Back to the grind, as it looks like the... Hood? What is he building here? Yeah, Veil for Eagle underway at this point. BSJ, Echo Saber here. So obviously Shadow Blade picking out these supports. Yeah, they ain't gonna happen. Echo Saber, I guess, for getting the most out of stealing stats and man fighting.
Yeah, it's good man fighting, and it's actually better farming between the two items. So yeah, you can't go in and out of fights as efficiently, but DC supports already have so much farm. They're gonna have sentries in every fight. a gem earlier in this game than Team Freedom. And all in all, yeah, you just want to get back to farming. It's not like a comeback Midas, but it's like something that's still allows you to combat the opposition while also getting back online.
Real close there for Tomato. Makes it away. Moon was on the hunt, but unfortunately will not find anybody. DC will continue their path down this bottom lane. Freedom frantic to build up the farm they can in the other 2 lanes. But BSJ finds himself now getting hit from the north as Moon Meander has rotated in towards the shrine. They'll get him. Misery not able to get close enough to get connection for the Fiend's Crypt in hopes of a finish. BSJ will take his business elsewhere.
So it's going to be an Ags rush from the Invoker here, Tomato. Pretty interesting decision-making from him, as it shows a lot of dependence on his spells. If he gets the Ags up, I mean, obviously all his spells are a lot stronger. He has some nice stats to work with. It's a great item, but it means you don't have like a Blink or a Yule's or a Force or anything that allows you to reset your positioning in a tough spot. So, yeah, he's going to be very reliant on being at the right place at the right time and making sure every spell hits.
Mike waits at the top, but we have a swap to the bottom. It's a pullback, and it is going to be a quick takedown of the Doom. No Doom to worry about now if you're DC. Jube a bit far forward, and the full Fiend's Grip. It's only going to be on Mike. They will glimpse cancel that grip. Mike's low on mana, though. Can't really put out a whole lot to kind of push back, except for that one extra nuke. He'll have to resupply here.
Moon gets another nice crush here, and
Yep.
Jube's out of mana. They don't have an answer for this.
Ooh, arrow packed in right at that moment. BSJ's not going to get hit from that one, but Wee's already left on in. Dishes out the Starfall, huge damage, and Mike is going to get finished. BSJ has a lock on Misery here, but will frantically leap back. Eagle returns from the dead.
He doesn't even doom.
And promptly
Get a kill.
Promptly goes back to the dead right after that. Sunstrike, though. Nice heads-up play from Misery. Doesn't take the obvious route back. We'll avoid that.
You know you're in a very pessimistic and sad spot when you're afraid to throw out your ultimate just because it's going to get denied anyways. Like, you know that he's going to ulti a 100 HP target, it's going to tick twice, and then somebody's going to A-click that hero, and you're not even going to get the kill.
And you're going to
He's just like, yeah, well,
Sad.
I'll save it for later. He hasn't doomed this entire game. Technically, that's the first Fiend's Grip we've seen as well, but it's just, I don't know. It feels like Team Freedom are in a much more desperate position. I mean, even BSJ here, caught out by far. They don't actually have follow-up to this, though, so he's going to be able to leap away, trying to pack off the... Okay, that works, too.
Or they kill him, yeah.
He leaps into the slider, you know. Accept it. Just let it happen.
Banana God. Dead now, unfortunately, for 20 seconds, while DC will claim yet another Tier 2. Only one more stands for Freedom there in the top lane, and then it's time to take down those shrines. DC making this one look pretty effortless and could quickly earn themselves a right to rematch wanted in the next round if this continues to be a success.
And it does look to be that way. I mean, right now, Ike's Mike does pick up the mechanism. That does give them some team fight potential, but I think you're mostly relying on massive static storms to keep coming out from Jube. Like, you just need so much between the Underlord and the Disruptor, and in order for that to work, you actually have to have DC making mistakes in their positioning. If they just keep spread, they're going to be fine, but if you can get like a 3 or 4 man combo between the Underlord and the Disruptor, that's where comebacks are alive and dreams are real.
DC dreaming of that rematch here. Top lane, they move on the back end of a smoke. They'll put Resolution in the lane as, you know, maybe a baited opportunity, but the rest of them obviously going to be missing off the map. Nearby, uh-oh, Tomato! A fresh Tomato has been plucked, eaten, squeezed into ketchup as his blood spills on the floor. I'm getting a bit too graphic with it, but he's dead for 30 seconds. On the other side, they're able to get the jump on Moon, it looks like here. They lock him down in place. No Static Storm committed. And now it's going to be Freedom on the chase. Soxa's close, has swap. But we'll be able to walk away, it looks like.
Yep.
DC taking it a bit safe.
Yep, just casually walking out of there, no problem at all. And again, no doom, no real casualty other than Moon. And he's got his bread and butter. He's got his blink. He's rapidly approaching 4 staff, so his death isn't as important as, say, the Invokers. But still, comeback gold is a thing, and no matter how far behind you are, any kill is going to be a good thing for Freedom. Veil up. All right, Veil plus Static Storm is a lot of good damage. People underrate the damage component of Static Storm, but it actually does stack up to a really high DPS at the tail end of the ultimate.
I mean, I played Dark Moon. I saw how powerful Stack Storm could be. It's
All
very
right,
good.
yeah, if you get an Aghanim's Octarine Core every game, it's solid.
I mean, Juve's certainly going to get that much money soon, and he'll get the Axe Doctrine Core.
Easily.
That will be
Just gotta wait for the
X
chicken
factor.
wave, honestly.
The chicken wave.
Could you imagine in Dota 2 if there was just a timeout at the 30-minute mark, and then just chickens spawn everywhere, dropping gold like crazy?
Icefrog's like, that doesn't sound too bad. Moon looking for an opening, jump in, crush, but finds himself in a bit of trouble here. The counter Static Storm will
big
come
arrow.
out. And Misery eats the Sunstrike, still holds on, turns around for the Sap. They will glimpse him back in. The Bane will be taken out of this one first. And it could be Freedom with a promising swing of things. On the back end, though, Tomato, look at this. Spots out Saksa, forces him away. He's far from home now. Freedom in the middle. Eagle, gonna get caught. Crush is there. Arrow also.
Easy.
Easy. Set up there. Resolution just easily.
They're
whizzes
pinging
out the
Roche. They're like,
deeps.
Doom's on cooldown, Doom is dead, and more importantly, the Static Storm is unavailable for 55 seconds. They are going to go in. They do have trouble tanking it right now. Not the most durable of heroes here on the front line. They do have a few Urn of Shadow charges to try to sustain that. And of course, with the ant damage coming out from the Slardar and the massive farm coming out from Resolution, they make quick work of it anyways.
All right, DC have an Aegis now. I'm curious to see what else they feel like they need to pick up before they try to go put a pin in this game. Freedom are advancing towards the bottom, trying to at least get some other money, get a tier 1 down, get anything they can to prepare for the ultimate defense that will be coming their way. Just look at the net worth, for God's sakes. Resolution is just totally in a league of his own.
Yeah, and then you look at Juve, and he's just like, I'm trying, guys. I really am. But yeah, that's the life of the 5 position and such a disadvantaged spot in the game.
One more level, he'll get that gold talent, you know? 60 gold.
Yeah, I mean, this is the kind of game where you want that talent. Like, there are some games where cast range is a lot better by far, but this is not one of them. You need to come back. You need to get anything. Each Rankle Boots would be a luxury, I don't know. And they're taking shrines. They've taken the top tier 2, no problem at all, so the shrine will go down up top, and you know, that opens up the map entirely. You got a good Dire Observer Ward about to expire down bottom. I'm sure they're going to be making moves into the Radiant jungle and continuing to suppress Team Freedom's farm. Did he actually? He didn't even go for the Echo Saber. BSJ had that in his quick buy and just said, "Yeah, let's go S and Y. This isn't
classic
working."
Sanjin Yasha.
I mean, this is when the game just really isn't working, and you just need a little bit more. I mean, it's not even a reliable slow. Like Echo Saber, you're gonna keep them slowed with just the second hit there, but here S and Y, it's a main proc. You're doing what you can. It's all about the movement speed. The only reason to go S and Y at this stage is just to stay mobile on the map, but it's tough, man.
It's a tough life here for Freedom. DC now finish off the second shrine. Freedom have no access points. Moon sets up yet another wonderful crush, but the team not looking to commit too far, except for Misery from the high ground. Gets a Fatal Bonds, all for Juve there. A swap back for Mike, too. There's the crush again from Moon to cut off his way. Here comes an Invoker combo, though, from Tomato. Does some good work. We'll get the finish on for Moon, but it's Resolution. Look at that guy. He's a turret on the low ground, just shooting out laser cannons. And it's going to be wiping away Freedom here. Only 2 left to survive. BSJ, a lone defender here with Tomato, trying to hold up to the Bear Man.
Yeah, he can't do anything to this bear, honestly. If he gets close, he probably gets rooted, and then he just dies straight up without the Dark Pact. Or, sorry, without the Shadow Dance available. So, nice few pickups there. Misery starting it off. And, yeah, Moon, you know, going as far as he needs to continue the siege. But in the end, they're still happy with the status quo. They're like, okay, well, we still have Aegis on the Lone Druid. We have complete map dominance. There's one good Observer Ward on the high ground here, but they're walking into trouble, and they actually popped the Doom of Mirana.
Okay. Well, DC tried to step away. Glimpse, Kinetic Field, not going to allow the trap of We. And Resolution just pokes him back. Don't even come up here. Don't even come up here. Get back home. Oh, poor little Jubei. Tried to TP back, but he gets caught. Drops down what he can. On to 3, a Static Storm Kinetic Field combo does leave Resolution alone here with Moon. They're going to be able to take out Moon. An opening for Resolution was briefly there, but again, that's going to be only for the Aegis. Swap back,
arrow.
stun from Saksa with the arrow on top of it. Mwah! Beautiful play coming out from DC as they try to put a nail in the coffin here. Heading into the mid lane, waiting for the fortification to expire. Eagle, Tomato doing what they can. Another arrow.
Oh, that would have been such a sick play. They actually helmeted Dominator, the Fort Spirit that was going to catch the arrow
And it
to
went
the
right
dire
through it.
side. If that had connected, that would have been like the play of the week. Absolutely insane. But they still are able to put a lot of damage into Eagle here. The melee racks will fall, and this EMP isn't very heavy. It's like 2 or 3 Wex, so that is going to be just him going down instead, and we're rapidly approaching GG.
They're low. They look tasty. They look like they could be finished, but they keep on fighting. That's a mid lane Rax down, the first one to drop this game. Mike moving in. He's going to get his roared back home. Eagle. And he gets put to sleep, but he's set to go out. Tomato's going to be forced to buy back in what could be the final hurrah of freedom here in DAC. A loss here certainly means their elimination from this tournament, and they'll have to move on to the next qualifier. It looks like it's going to be DC setting up for a rematch against Wanted, as they will just begin to savagely run through the rest of Freedom. The good game comes out from Mike, and Freedom will... We salute you, Freedom, but your journey at DAC is now over. Congratulations to Digital Chaos. They will get the rematch against Wanted.
And this is where Liberty dies, in Group A of DAC 2017. But all the same, DC definitely well-deserved. Little climbing start, but they got it together. They just played tried and true. They're Dota, and they were able to control the game really well. So across the board, it seemed like Team Freedom had trouble in the laning stages, and especially beyond that. They're moving on the map in the mid game. BSJ finding enough farm to really make a dent in the way the game was panning out. Misery was a real slayer in this last game, dude.
Yeah, his Bane was awesome in this game. He really just got me excited about Bane again. For a while there, it was like Bane was the go-to first ban, first pick. We saw him wreaking havoc, even more outside of the classic Bane-Mirana combo, just being that, dominant, imposing force in the laning phase. And here, Misery doesn't just do it in the laning, in one lane. He takes it all over the place, sets things up nonstop, and really goes to work. Got to give shout-outs, of course, to Moon Meander as well. Sporting that ridiculous set. He is setting up all these awesome crushes for his team to capitalize on. It just makes, things so easy for someone like Resolution, who all he has to do is farm up, be a lone druid, and, you'll win the game. Really doing work on that 2017 lone druid that we all know and love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Solid stuff, of course.
Solid
Gets to be the showstopper, the backbone of the team, but I mean, yeah, I think that I was skeptical with the Bane pick because they were up against Evoker, Disruptor, a lot of easy ways to interrupt the Fiend's grip, and I didn't see too much in terms of synergy, counter synergy, and the carry hadn't been picked yet. But despite the Slark being a pretty good hero to deal with the Bane, Misery was still able to make a very high impact early on, and just every fight subsequently, he just always was in position. He's a very tanky support early on, so he just kind of gets to go in and do his thing. And other than a few overzealous dives in the jungle, I definitely think he was the MVP of this game. And as a whole, DC definitely deserving this 2-0 win.
All right, we will see more of DC here in the DAC qualifier as they're going to be slated once again to go back into a matchup against Wanted. Freedom, it's the end of the road for them, but I'm sure we'll be seeing Team Freedom play once again. Probably upcoming Kiev qualifier, I would say look out for them. They're still sporting the team house. They're still grinding their way if you're a Freedom fan. Show them some love and support on their Twitter and keep an eye out for them at future qualifiers. DC fans, praise, you stay alive and you get to move